For 1 full month, a commuter kept a grudge notebook. Every morning, same bus stop, same line. The sign above her head says, "Buses every 10 minutes." And every morning she wrote down exactly how long she waited. At the end of the month, she did the math, marched in the transit office, and slapped the notebook on the counter. Your sign is a lie. My average wait is way more than 5 minutes. The transit office pulled up their own logs. GPS data, every single bus the whole month. And their data said, the buses really do average 1 bus every 10 minutes. The sign is correct. Here's the unsettling part. Nobody was lying. Both notebooks were right. The schedule honestly averages 10. Her weight honestly averages more than 5. And the gap between those two true facts is one of the sneakiest ideas in all of probability. It's called the inspection paradox. And once you see it, you'll find it hiding everywhere. In your gym, in your flights, in your class sizes, in why your life feels more crowded than the statistics say it should be. First, let's be fair to our gut, because our gut is doing real math. Imagine the perfect bus line. Clockwork. A bus arrives exactly every 10 minutes, forever. Now you wander up at a totally random moment. No idea when the last bus left. You could land just after a bus pulled away. That's the worst case, almost 10 minutes of waiting. You could land just before one arrives. The dream, basically 0. And every landing spot in between is equally likely. So your wait is a random slide from 0 to 10, and on average you land right in the middle. 5 minutes. Exactly 5. That's the calculation everyone's gut runs. Average gap 10, so average wait 5. Half the gap. And in the clockwork world, the gut is 100% correct. Which means the paradox isn't in the averaging. It's hiding somewhere else. It's hiding in one tiny word on that sign. Every 10 minutes on average. Because real buses don't do clockwork. They bunch up, they hit traffic, they drift. So let's build the gentlest, tiniest bit of realism, barely any chaos at all. Same bus line, same honest average of 10 minutes between buses. But now the gaps alternate, a short 5-minute gap, then a long 15-minute gap, then 5, then 15, forever. Check the average, 5 plus 15, split evenly, that's 10. The sign is still telling the truth. The transit office logs would still pass any audit. Now, you walk up at a completely random moment, just like before. Here is the question this whole video hangs on. On this alternating line, short gap, long gap, averaging 10, what is your average weight? Your gut says 5, right? Half of 10, same as before. Lock in a number. I'll wait. Okay, if you said 5, the bus company thanks you for your trust. But your grudge notebook is about to disagree. Here's the move your gut made without telling you. It assumed you're equally likely to show up in a short gap or a long gap. 50-50, one of each, after all. But you don't arrive at a random gap. You arrive at a random moment in time. And the gaps don't own equal shares of time. Look at one full cycle of this schedule, a 5-minute gap and a 15-minute gap, 20 minutes total. The long gap owns 15 of those 20 minutes. That's 3/4 of the entire timeline. The short gap owns just 5, 1/4. So when you wander up at a random moment, you land in the long gap 3 times out of 4. The long gaps are big targets. The short gaps are slivers. You're not sampling the schedule the way the bus company does. 1 tick per gap, all equal. You're sampling it the way a dart samples a dartboard. The big regions get hit more. And that one shift, counting gaps by the time they cover, not one each, is the entire paradox. So let's redo the calculation the honest way, the way the darts actually land. 1 time in 4, you land in a short gap. 5 minutes long, you land somewhere random inside it, so you wait 2.5 on average. 3 times in 4, you land in the long gap. 15 minutes long, average wait 7.5. Weight them properly. 1/4 of 2.5 plus 3/4 of 7.5. And it comes out to 6.25 minutes. Not 5. 6.25. The sign says 10-minute average. Your gut says 5-minute wait. And reality hands you 6.25. Every day, forever, with nobody cheating. That extra minute and a quarter isn't bad luck. It's geometry. And if you want to see the paradox in its purest form, ask a slightly different question. How long is the gap you typically find yourself standing in? 1/4 of the time, it's the 5. 3/4 of the time, it's the 15. That averages to 12.5 minutes. Read that again. The schedule's gaps average 10, but the gap you experience averages 12.5. Your weight is half of the gap you land in. Half of 12.5, 6.25. It all clicks. This trick has a name: size bias sampling, or the inspection paradox. Whenever you inspect a process by dropping into it at a random moment, you don't see a typical interval. You see an interval chosen in proportion to its own length. Long intervals literally take up more of the world, so they're where you tend to be standing. Short intervals flash by. You almost never catch one in the act. It's the exact same cheat as a dartboard, and the exact same cheat as something we've met before on this channel. Remember the friendship paradox? Your friends have more friends than you. Because picking a friend oversamples popular people. They're on more lists. Here, picking the gap you're standing in oversamples long gaps. They cover more minutes. Same villain, different costume. When the thing you're sampling decides how often it gets sampled, your experience of average silently inflates. The bus company averages over gaps. You average over minutes. You will never agree. Mathematicians boiled the whole thing down to one clean line, and it's worth 30 seconds of your life. Your expected weight equals the average of the squared gap lengths, divided by twice the plain average gap. Why squared? A gap hurts you twice over. Once because a longer gap is a bigger target, more likely you land in it. And once more because, having landed in it, you've got more of it left to sit through. Likelihood times length. Length times length. That's where the square comes from. Check it on our bus line. Square the 5, square the 15, average them, divide by twice 10, 6.25. Same answer, straight from the formula. And the formula carries a guarantee, the same gold-plated guarantee as the friendship paradox. Your expected weight equals half the average gap, plus a bonus term built entirely out of the variance, the spread of the gaps. Variance can never be negative, so the bonus can never be negative. Your weight is always at least half the advertised gap. The clockwork 5 minutes is the best case, the floor. And there's exactly one way to stand on that floor: zero variance. Every gap identical. Perfect clockwork. The moment the schedule wobbles even slightly, the bonus turns on, and you, the random arriver, pay for it. The messier the line, the bigger the spread, the longer you wait. Which raises a deliciously evil question. What happens if the schedule is maximally messy? Let's push the chaos all the way. Imagine a bus line with no schedule at all. Total randomness. At every instant, a bus is equally likely to show up. No rhythm, no pattern, no memory of when the last one came. Mathematicians call this a Poisson process, and its gaps look wild. Loads of tiny gaps, back-to-back buses, and every so often a monster gap that goes on and on. But tune the randomness, so the gaps still average exactly 10 minutes. The sign still tells the truth. Now, 2 questions, and I want you to actually commit to the second one. First, you arrive at a random moment. We know the drill now. Long gaps are big targets. Your weight inflates past 5. Fine. But second, and this is the one that breaks people. You're at the stop, and you watch the last bus leave. It's been sitting at 0 for you. 7 minutes crawl by. No bus. On this fully random line, average gap 10, and the last bus left 7 whole minutes ago. How much longer do you expect to wait from this moment? Surely the bus is due, right? 3 more minutes? Lock it in. The answer is 10. 10 more minutes. Not 3, not 5. The full average gap all over again, as if the 7 minutes you already suffered never happened. This property is called memorylessness, and it's exactly what it sounds like. A truly random process does not remember how long you've been waiting. At every single instant, the future looks identical, a fresh coin flip universe where the next bus averages 10 minutes away. The 7 minutes you invested, the process never knew about them. There is no due. And run our weight formula on this line, and you get the same brutal verdict from the other direction. For these maximally spread out gaps, the variance bonus grows so large that your expected wait equals the entire average gap. All 10 minutes. Not half, the whole thing. So look at the full ladder we've climbed. Perfect clockwork. You wait half the gap. 5. A small wobble, alternating short and long. 6 1/4. Total randomness. The full 10. Double the naive answer. Same sign on the bus, stop the whole time. Every 10 minutes on average. Never once a lie. Your wait is decided not by the average on the sign, but by the spread the sign never mentions. Once you have this lens, you start catching the universe red-handed. Your university brags that the average class size is 30, but the classes you sit and feel enormous. Are you unlucky? No, you're size-biased. Picture 10 students in a tiny seminar and 90 packed into a lecture hall. The catalog averages the 2 classes, 50. Sounds civilized. But ask the 100 students what they experience. 90 of them are in the giant one. The student experienced average is over 80. The big class samples itself more because it contains more samplers. Same with the gym. It always feels crowded because you and everyone else disproportionately show up at the crowded times. That's what crowded means. Same with flights. Airlines can honestly report modest average loads, while most passengers fly on packed planes. Full flights hold more passengers to do the experiencing. Same with your bus line, always being worse than the timetable. It isn't worse. You just live inside the long gaps. The pattern, every time, whenever you experience the world from inside an interval, a class, a crowd, you experience the big ones more because the big ones contain more of you. The world as measured and the world as experienced are 2 different worlds. And the experienced one is always the more crowded, more delayed, more congested of the 2. So let's go back to the commuter and her grudge notebook one last time. She wasn't wrong. The transit office wasn't wrong. They were measuring 2 different worlds. The office averages over gaps, 1 tick per gap, all counted equally. She averages over moments of her life, and her moments pile up inside the long gaps. Her notebook wasn't recording the bus schedule. It was recording the variance of the bus schedule, which means a grudge notebook is secretly a statistics instrument. I find that delightful. Here's the one-line takeaway to keep. An average is a claim about the world. Your experience is a sample of the world, and your experience is biased toward wherever the world is biggest. So be a little kinder to your transit system, and a little more suspicious of every on average sign you ever read. Now I'm leaving you with homework, the fun kind. Where has the inspection paradox been gaslighting you? The hospital wait that's always longer than the posted average? The customer service hold time? The traffic jam that shouldn't be there? Drop your best one in the comments. The place where the measured world and your experienced world refuse to agree. And if you enjoyed meeting this villain, it has a sibling. The friendship paradox, that one's on the channel too. See you in the next one.